Hey everyone, George here from Mini Madness. Today what we're going to show you how to do is install the ignition kind of upgrade, which includes the MSD ignition coil, also the MSD 8.5mm plug wires, and also a set of NGK iridium spark plugs. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to remove those components and actually replace them. What we're going to do is remove the wires from the cylinder head and the coil pack. And so the way to do that is pretty simple. You just grab the end of the wire here, use your two fingers and sort of slide it off the coil pack on each side. And these leads should look nice and clean like they do here currently. Usually this number 3 wire back here, yep, as we thought, is quite rusty. So you can see how nasty that one looks, and you can kind of compare it to some of the other ones to see how nice and clean it looks. So this one is really quite bad. That's another reason why we're going to be changing out this ignition coil. So like I said, we'll go ahead and pull all these wires off the coil pack first, get them out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and pull them out of the cylinder head itself. And so what we're going to do that is you kind of grab the top part of the wire itself and you just kind of rotate it a little bit to free it up so it spins freely. And then you should be able to kind of wiggle it and pull it right out, just like that. We'll kind of set those aside. And you'll notice that they're different lengths as well. So the number 1 cylinder that we just pulled out is a certain length. Number 2 is shorter. And 3 and 4 are actually the same. 3 and 4 are actually the same. Okay, and the MSD wires that we're going to be putting in are actually the same length as these, and so you kind of match up the lengths. And if you look on the wires here, I don't know if you can see this or not, but they actually tell you what wire it actually is. Cylinder number 2. Okay, this one here probably says cylinder number 1. So you can easily match up the wires where they go in this cylinder head. Okay, so then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the coil pack itself. So the way to do that is you have to disconnect the power source in the back, and you'll notice that there's a little red clip on the back of the, it's a locking clip on top of that plug. What you do is you push that towards the passenger side of the car first. So you push that like that, and then you go ahead and depress the black tab at the back, kind of wiggle that off. Just let that hang down below. Then using our 10mm wrench, we're going to take out the 4 bolts that hold this coil pack on. Okay, so now that we've loosened all the bolts on the coil pack, we can go ahead and lift the coil pack off. Just like that. Now what you'll notice is that on this coil pack you'll see it has these rubber grommets that we're going to take off and actually reuse. Okay, we're going to reuse these on the other ones. Okay, so now that we pulled off the rubber grommets off the bottom of the coil pack, which you just saw a second ago, we're going to go ahead and place them back onto the valve cover on top of the brass nut inserts. They're on top of that. Just like so. Okay, and then on the remaining ones, the ones that go on the top side of these bolts, we're going to pull these off. The reason we're taking these off is because we have to use new bolts that we supply with our coil packs. You can't reuse the factory bolts because they have this sheath on them that does not come off. This sheath is too wide to fit in the MSD coil pack that you're upgrading to, and so we just supply you with new bolts, but you're going to reuse the original rubber grommets. So we'll go ahead and pull the rest of those off and set them aside for the moment. And then we'll go ahead and grab the other coil pack. Okay, so now here's our MSD coil pack. We're going to put that in place, and so what you're going to do with this is you're going to set it on top of those rubber grommets, set it down very evenly and nicely so you don't mess up the alignment there. But it's fairly simple to do. You're just going to set it right down on top of the, like I just didn't do there. So realign them if necessary. But go ahead and set that down right on top of the existing rubber grommets. Okay. Then what you're going to do is take one of the new bolts and washers that we supply to you. You're going to take the new bolt, put the washer on first, then put the grommet on, then go ahead and insert it and get it finger started. Okay, we'll do that with all of them. And we'll go ahead and tighten those down. Now, one thing to remember when tightening down these new bolts, they do not have any stops to stop those bolts from going too far into the valve cover. And so what can happen is if you tighten these bolts down too much, if you really wrench on them, you can actually break the plastic valve cover. And so what you want to do is tighten them down just so they start to kind of compress the rubber bushings a little bit, and you start to feel a little resistance, and literally just kind of stop. So just till you start feeling a little bit of resistance. And go ahead and push them all down. About that much is good. I'm going to take the wiring connector, the power source, push it onto the back again until it snaps, and then push the red locking tab in. And that's all there is to installing the Coilpack. Now what we're going to do is remove the spark plugs out of this, this MINI Cooper S. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the special spark plug socket. And what's special about this spark plug socket, and you can get these at any auto parts store, but what's special about it is the inside of the spark plug socket actually has a rubber insert, and what that does is it grabs around the center of the spark plug, so once you actually remove it and you pull the socket out, the spark plug is actually stays in the bottom of it. So that way you don't have to try and fish that thing out of the very deep tube that it's down in. So you'll see that in a second here of how we insert this down to spark plug tube number 1. Okay, and then go ahead and back that spark plug out. Okay, and you'll see here that now that we have this spark plug fully unthreaded out of the cylinder head itself, we can just pull it out, and there's the spark plug in the end. Okay? And that's it. We'll go ahead and install our new ones. So now we're ready to put the new plugs back in. This plug is an NGK iridium plug. It's 1 heat range colder than the factory plug that we just pulled out. The reason why we're doing that is because we're installing a supercharger pulley here in a few minutes, and the car is going to be running more boost pressure and generating more heat. These cooler running spark plugs help offset some of the heat that's generated by the increase in boost pressure. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so we're going to use the spark plug socket again. We're going to insert the plug into the socket. You can see it doesn't fall out. Okay, we're going to stick it in and just hand start these plugs. You always want to hand start these plugs into the aluminum cylinder heads, because if you don't, there's a risk of cross threading, which you definitely don't want to do. So go ahead and finger start that, and then go ahead with a regular wrench, just go ahead and seat the plug. Okay, and then we're going to pull out, leave the extension and the socket still in there. We're going to go ahead and grab our torque wrench, and we're going to go ahead and torque down these spark plugs to 20 foot-pounds of torque. So 20 foot-pounds of torque is what the torque is for these spark plugs. So we got our torque wrench already set. We're going to go until we just hear the click. That's about it. Okay, so that plug is fully seated now. And then we'll go ahead and do the rest, and then we'll move on to the wires. We're going to install the MSD ignition wires onto the new MSD Coilpack. And one of the things that you'll notice is that if you come here and look at the Coilpack, you notice that the Coilpack has numbers on it, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The MSD Coilpack does not have those numbers, and so just use the existing Coilpack as a reference of where those wires should go. And you can also use the wires as well. I'll show you those. You can also use the wires as well to give you an indication of where they should go in terms of the lengths. Okay, so leave those wires kind of sitting out here. So we'll just kind of set these out. We already know that our shortest wire, if we look at the short wires here, you can kind of see they're about the same length. Okay, the shortest wire goes to number 2. So on the valve cover is also numbered, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put this in first. You want to push it down until it's fully seated. It'll kind of snap when it gets into place. And we'll go ahead and route this over. And so once again, we'll look at our Coilpack. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're going to put this one on number 2. Okay. Now we're going to find spark plug number 1. So we'll get rid of number 2 here. Actually, this is number 1. Okay, and once again, just kind of match up the lengths. That's cylinder number 1. Okay, so we're going to put that down to cylinder number 1. Then we'll use our Coilpack for reference once again. That's number 1. That's number 1. And don't worry if you mess this up. The car just won't run correctly. You'll know it right away, but no damage will occur. You'll figure it out pretty quick that you got them in the wrong direction or the wrong orientation. Okay. So, and then like I said, number 3 and number 4 wires are the same length. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put those in. So our Coilpack aside over here. Okay, so what we like to do is route the number 4 wire first. When you're on the number 3 and number 4 in the back, we like to go to number 4 first. And once again, follow our Coilpack, number 3, number 4, doing number 4. I'm going to put that on first. Wait till those wires make a nice good snap on there, and just kind of keep the spark plug wire going down through this channel here. It's a nice clean arrangement for it. And then we'll go ahead and do number 3 right on top of it. And that's really about it. So that's the ignition upgrade, spark plugs, spark plug wires, and Coilpack.